I woke up a couple of nights ago at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got up and I wrote and I recorded a video. And I'm not going to inflict the 4 a.m. video on you, but I am going to break it down into 3 or 4 other shorter videos over the next couple of days. I have a whole bunch of notes in my Obsidian about cognitive models, and I woke up and thought, oh my gosh, cognitive models. Now, my background's in education. It's in professional education, like higher ed for professions. How do people become professionals? How do they develop a sense of themselves as a member of the profession? How does the profession codify its knowledge? How are knowledge structures sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Encapsulated and conferred, but also there's this like gatekeeping component to it. But what you need to know is that we're working with these cognitive models, which are the ones we can articulate and write out. We can sort of identify this is the framework and this is the metaphor that we use, but they're fundamentally a scaffold to help newcomers to the organization, to the profession, identify and become experts in the field. The use of those cognitive models is a characteristic of a beginner, not an expert. But then we identify those. We use them as like the PM book of knowledge or the codified ways that in principle one could solve a problem, but that's not how experts actually do it. That's how we have identified and codified the knowledge, but the use of that kind of approach is not the sign of an expert. Experts in all realms have internalized the performance of the skill so that it becomes second nature. But when we're doing assessments, when we're doing interviews, and when we're doing evaluations over and over again, we sort of go to the expert and say, okay, well, show your work. And this is, in many of those cases, as if we had taken someone who's a driver and we're saying to them, okay, but like, tell me about your braking practices there as you're driving. So we're asking them to talk through their sense of the road in addition to do the driving. And we set people up where their performance is being judged by people who are not experts in the same thing. So because we've got the hiring process being done by people who are not experts in that, they're trying to hire in an expertise that they lack, we replace that masterful performance where an expert can say, oh yeah, this person's really good at that. I can see because I am also an expert in that. We replace that with a credential. And then we forget that the credential was actually designed to bring somebody up to speed. It's not the actual performance. It's what we test people on in many cases is their capacity to describe the scaffold that's been designed as a temporary stage in the development of expertise. And then that thing that's essentially the opposite of an expert performance gets held up as the standard of the skill. And it's very challenging for someone who has that genuinely embodied deep expertise to explain what they're doing and why they're doing it, even though they're doing it at a higher level than they would be if they were following the checklist to its